What do you do if you want to create art, but you just can't seem to show up for yourself? This was me last year, and I have never been able to really get going on a project. I love making art, but I'll just do like one or two things and then leave it and then come back and do something completely different. And I never end up building a body of work or kind of pushing through to build a consistent practice. It just doesn't happen for me. I really needed help in this area, and my friend sat me down. We decided to take on an 100-day drawing project. This was overwhelming for me, and I was thinking, there's no way. And I just had never done anything for more than 5 days, let alone 100 days. So I really leaned on her a lot for accountability. And I know loads of people do 100-day projects for exercise or whatever it might be, but to show up and draw something every day felt exciting in a way, because it would make me an artist. It would make me feel like I was actually doing the things that I think about or doing the things that I talk about. I actually was doing them in real life. And there's something to be said about that, about keeping a promise to yourself. It's so rewarding. So in this video, I want to share some things that really helped me go from never being able to show up for myself and commit to something to actually successfully drawing for 100 days. What? First thing that really helped me was making the goal actually achievable. And for me, that means stripping it away completely to a really basic, minimal task. And if you have ADHD, this is also really helpful by breaking it down to such an easy target that it feels like, oh, well, I could easily do that. Like when you want to read more consistently and the goal is just to show up and read one sentence of the book. That kind of small goal. So for me, this looked like a drawing every day would count if I just did a post-it note. So it could be post-it note size, super small. A drawing would count if I just showed up and drew a line. That was all I had to do, was have a post-it note, draw a line, boom, done for the day. But of course, and I knew this at the time, but I still have to trick my brain, but of course I didn't just show up and draw a line. Yes, there were some days where I could just do only a minimal drawing, a super linear drawing, but there were plenty of days where I would show up just to be doing the line, and I would stay for a bit longer. I would draw more, I would get into it, and I would start to see things in the drawing that I didn't see before I arrived. And it would kind of lure me into this practice. And before I knew it, I had sat there for 5 minutes making a drawing. And I know 5 minutes isn't a lot of time, but if you had told me you need to draw for 5 minutes every day, it feels like a thing that I have to do in my brain, and I don't want to, I'm weighed down by it or something. So making it that small goal was so helpful. Something else that really helped was, do you remember when you were a kid and you had a star chart and you'd put, various stars on each day if you had, I don't know, bought the mail in or washed the dishes or something like that? You'd get a little star and you could see them add up for the week, and I don't know, maybe at the end of the week, if you had 7 stars, you would get a treat. I did this with the art. I got a blank wall in my room and would put the drawings up every day that I did, no matter what, no matter how much I hated them, no matter how much they looked stupid or how little I had done at the time. I taped them up on the wall and did them in rows of 10. So I could just do 10 rows of 10, 100, right? And this worked so well because I could see the progress as I was going. What I did at the start was actually put 100 post-its on my wall that were blank, and I could see how much I had to do. And every day I would replace that plain post-it with the drawn post-it. and I'd be able to see them slowly being taken over. And watching physical progress like that is actually really rewarding, and it really helped to motivate me because I could see I needed to keep going. I needed to just do this one day, the next day, just do the next day, and it would build up. And it felt like such a small thing to do, to show up and draw a line, but actually the days go by and we don't really notice it too much unless you're counting them like this. And I ended up watching my life evolve in these post-it notes, and I totally underestimated how much happens in each day. And that's a side note, was how much life there is every day. When I would sit down to draw, I would tend to focus on, what am I feeling today? What was the main event of the day? What did I take away from the day? And try and draw that and capture that. And it ended up looking like a visual journal or a visual diary, which was really cool to see all over my wall, all these different days and all these things that had happened in sequence for my life. And it really reflected back how much life we have every day, and how much happens, how much drama happens. And when it's captured and looking at you every day, it's quite confronting. Sitting on the floor of that room with the wall being covered in drawings was a really fun thing to do after about kind of 20 or 30 days in, because I could see all these different drawings and all the thought processes I had had, all the different experiences that I'd drawn about, and I could sit and analyze my own work and see how, oh, I liked it when I drew that, or I hate that drawing, and why. Why do I hate this drawing but like this drawing? What was going on, or what processes did I use? Did I use more collage? Did I use more drawing? Was it the text? It's really cool to be your own art critic and really observe what it is that you're doing when it's in your face like that. A reflection I had was that I hadn't realized how much I enjoyed drawing about my life. And I also found that when I don't have the words to describe what's going on for me, if I just start to draw that line, things develop. And I hate this so much because I forget it all the time. But it's so true that if you just show up and start, then you know the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And annoyingly, I get caught up on this all the time because I want to sit down to start knowing what it is that I'm going to do. It's like a certainty thing or a security thing in my mind. I have to get over this and let that go because I often don't know. I often don't, even with this video, you don't know where things are going to go. You just have to show up, start, and then you get to see the next 30 seconds, and then you get the next 30 seconds revealed, and so on. And I think, ironically, this is the fun part of art making that I love, and how you never really know where it's going to go, and you get to delight in the outcome because it surprises me. I'm like, oh, this is cool. I didn't know it was going to go that way. Why do I not remember this every time? So unfortunately, that doesn't go away. I still fight with the starting thing. I just have to have reminders everywhere that through doing comes clarity. Another reflection, of course, over 100 days, you're not going to want to do the drawing every day. There were days when I didn't want to do it. I was just like, this is dumb. I'm not in the mood. I don't have any ideas. But I still showed up. I still did whatever. And some days, yeah, they sucked and I hated those drawings. And I'm going to show you them anyway because it's my idea of what bad art looks like for me when I make it. I learned that you can't have good art or art that you're proud of without that art that sucks. They come together. And I think in the past, whenever I would show up, I would just try and make only the good art, and then usually get discouraged because it wasn't, and not even try for a little bit longer, like weeks, months at a time. But by showing up every day and kind of it being a non-negotiable practice, it meant that, oh, today might be a good day, today might be a bad day, but it's a day of drawing. And we ebb and flow every day with our moods. That's going to be the same for my drawings. But the more I do them and the more days I have more art then to pull on. And the more I show up, the more good art there is going to be. Yes, there'll be more bad art, but the good art is there. And I get to use that in the future for other things. I get to pull from that body of work. Only the ones that I want to show, of course. We have to take the good and the bad together, and to have good, you have to have bad. It was sort of a reflection that it's quite philosophical, because that's like life, right? It kind of changed my mindset and thinking of drawing in a different way. You just have to show up and do a drawing, neutral. Could be good, could be bad. Either way, it's a drawing day. It really did help build a practice, because there were days when I forgot. One time I actually completely forgot and woke up the next day and realized, oh crap, I have not made my drawing yesterday. Thankfully, I had been journaling that day and had drawn in my journal. So I counted that as my drawing of the day. I did have a day where I went on a trip. So I was out of my normal environment and I was just about asleep. You know that moment when you're just dozing off and then all of a sudden you wake up in a panic because you're like, I haven't done my drawing. My partner was asleep next to me at the time, so I had to creep up, go into the bathroom, turn the light on, and bleary-eye draw something for that day. And it was just a line drawing, but still, it wasn't just a line. I still drew a picture, an image of that day. I was so grateful, but also proud of myself for sticking to it, because it took all of 2 minutes, but it's really hard to get me out of bed once I'm in bed. Lastly, a major takeaway for me is that doing things alone is so much harder than doing it with people. So even if that is with doing it with people online or doing a challenge together through group chats or groups that you know of, it makes it so much easier to show up when other people are doing the same. Doing it on my own it felt so hard, and it's too easy to just be like, this is dumb, I'm not into it anymore, because usually the other person is in a different energy to you and they're like, yes, keep going, we've got this. And when I was in a different energy and my friend was not feeling it, I could do the same for her. So I really recommend having somebody hold you accountable, or is it called body doubling? You know, having somebody with you, or even just sending you a text, have you done your drawing today? Something that keeps you motivated, even just for that first 2 weeks, first 3 weeks, to build the habit. Because one of the biggest takeaways for me has been proving to myself that I can do it, and proving to myself that I can keep a promise to myself, and that feels so good. I majorly underestimated how amazing that feels, to do the things you say you're going to do and actually achieve them in real life. Amazing. I was actually so amped about this project that I wrote a book about it, and I have captured all the drawings, the bad ones and the good ones, and I wrote about the process and the learnings that I had. And even just doing this book was so fun for me, a way of documenting where I started from where I got to, and the whole journey and process was just so impactful. It feels really good, and I hope that this project inspires you to start your own in a really small way. Just start something really small that is achievable to do on a daily basis, because it really does add up. If you're interested in learning more, then I'll put some links below. But thanks for watching and good luck with your project.